Is it recording?
It's not blinking. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's on. Right. I think so.
I'm the most camera shy human being on the planet. To ignore the iPad. Yeah? Okay. Go ahead.
Hi everybody, I'm Don. I'm with Q-Strain Sherlock. We do the wheelchair securements that are on your buses. Hopefully you know us and like us. If you don't, we'll try harder. Last year we celebrated a really big anniversary for our company. We turned 40 years old, which basically means we started doing wheelchair securements before it was the law. And people looked at us like, what are you guys doing? And a little story, my manager just retired last year, went into a big organization in New York City and asked them how they secured their mobility devices because they were getting calls all the time and their wheelchairs tipping over, and they called us in. So we went out and we asked the driver, how do you secure a mobility device? And the driver said this, I grabbed the wheel with one hand, I grabbed the wheelchair with the other hand, and we drive down the road. So that was 40 years ago. Thank goodness things have changed quite a bit. Q-Strain has a lot of new products. We have an in-floor system for vans and cutaway buses, where you don't have to pull the retractors out of the bag and put them into the track. They're already embedded in the floor. You press a button on the wall, secure the mobility device, you hit it again, it goes into auto locking. There's no searching through the bags that rip up. It's super easy. It's always in the right spot. We still rely on our drivers to do the right thing in regards to securing that chair and hooking to the right place. So that's why we have a training academy that's absolutely free on our website. You can go to the training academy, and each month we have a webinar that's free. Your drivers, you have them watch that and watch the webinar. It takes 75 minutes. They'll get a certificate of attendance. And the reason I bring that up is, if you do have a wheelchair tip over, you don't want it, and the attorney comes up to you and says, excuse me, Don, when was the last time the driver was trained? And you go, 1986 when we hired them. That's not going to be a good thing. But if you can say, every year on the anniversary, we have them watch a webinar. Here's their certificate of attendance. And this is what we do to train. So you can use our website to learn how to train everybody the very same way. And I do a lot of rodeos, and I see a lot of different things. So training, I mean, you can have the best equipment in the world, but if that driver is not trained on how to use it correctly, it doesn't matter. So that's why I'm pretty passionate about what we do there. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop by our booth. We're right out the store here, and have a great rest of the show. What's your website? Website is qstraight.com, and then you'll see a spot that says Training Academy. It has a Q in it. It's not a misspelling. We put a Q in everything we make, so that's why it is spelled that way. But if you go to our website, we've got information there. Another great part of the Training Academy, you can take a picture of a really hard to secure mobility device, upload it to the website, and from that picture, our training manager will create a video showing where he would recommend you attach the hooks to. And if you need a blue webbing loop, they'll say blue webbing loop here. So we are here to help you out, and that's free too. Once again, we want you guys to be safe and your passengers. So that's what we do. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to hand it over here to Chris.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Pearson. I'm part of the URSTA board. I'm the new person on the board. So just a couple quick housekeeping items. There's papers in the back that we would like everyone to get a hold of and write some questions for the panel discussion later today. So anyone with questions or whatever, write those down so we can use those in the panel discussion. And then also, you'll see these on your tables. You'll see these on your tables. So this is for the UDOT survey, Shaping the Future of Transit Training in Utah. Scan that QR code and take that survey, please. All right, so now I'm going to introduce Christine Odle. She's a finance expert. She's going to teach us about personal finances today. A quick bio about Christine. Over her lifetime, Christine Odle has studied money and how it affects us. She has learned valuable lessons after running her family deeply into debt and then becoming debt-free in 8 years. What works, what doesn't work. Her heart is about teaching people without judgment how to live well and make financial decisions that work. She is a fractional CFO for several companies and teaches people how to manage their business and personal finances to create generational wealth. Please welcome Christine Odle.
Thank you. So you can tell I'm ADD. I also wrote 2 books. One is about fear. It's called The Adventures of Black Goat and Yellow Dog, and a business book, in case you're interested. All right, we're going to start with a couple of things. First off, we're going to go through some statistics of why I know you're distracted when you're driving, no matter who you are. And then we're going to I'm going to teach you a lesson on budgeting. So if you're, the people that work with you come in and they have financial problems and you're like, I don't know how to help them. Now I'm going to give you a tool that you can help them with by knowing how to do it yourself. That's how I learned, is once I learned how to do it myself and then started teaching it, I got better at it. So now I teach it all over the nation how to do budgeting better. And then we're going to go through some tools that are available to you as well as managers and just people. So here we go. How many of you have this problem? Why do we have this problem? Usually on Mondays, this is first responders tell me and hospitals tell me the number one time of day that we have heart attacks in this country is Monday morning. Monday morning before 10 a.m. are the most heart attacks. This might have changed over time, but it's because people stress about work, going to work, going back to work. Am I making enough money for my family? There's a bunch of different stressors on it. So we're going to try and fix this problem. How does it affect us? Well, 92% of us don't sleep at night because of money problems. So there's about 50 people in this room. I want 5 of you to stand up. Any 5. We got enough. 5 people stood up quickly. You guys slept last night. I know that because you stood up quickly. The rest of us didn't sleep. The rest of us didn't sleep last night. So when we hop in our vehicles to drive, and by the way, there was a crash on the way in this morning. When we hop in our vehicles to drive and we didn't sleep last night, how safe are we? We're distracted. We didn't sleep last night. I know. I don't sleep before I speak because I want to make sure that I've got everything straight. And so all night long I think about what I'm going to say to you guys because I have 50 minutes to do it. All right. 85% of us are distressed about money. Does this sound about right? We read about money all the time. People talk about money all the time. So we're stressed about it. Are we doing money right? In this country, we have different problems than the rest of the world. The rest of the world, especially the third world countries, I have a nephew right now who's a missionary in Uganda. They worry about whether they're going to eat today or whether they have a roof over their head today. They don't worry about insurance, how much gas is because they don't have cars. They don't worry about a lot of the things that we worry about, car payments, how to get across town. We're transit, right? But if some places in St. George where I live, I could not get on transit from where I live to here to speak today. So I have to worry about having proper transportation. So we have more worries in this country than in a lot of other countries. This causes back pain. We're driving all day long. We're worried about money, and now we have back pain. Woo, this is getting fun. We get headaches and we get migraines. This is all money related, by the way. This is not just life related, it's money related. So does it affect safety? Absolutely. So this is just the statistics. You can do ChatGPT, you can do Google, you can pretty much come up with basically what distracted driving. Even if we're not distracted, somebody else is distracted and it's dangerous. You know, how many times do we drive down a little cute main street and people just jump out in the middle of the street on you? How many times do we see in a parking lot little people, the little people that don't know cars hurt, jump out away from their parents? There's distractions everywhere, but it's still, again, a lot of it comes from financial issues. Okay, who's distracted? We all are. We're all distracted. We can blame it on teenagers, we can blame it on seniors, we can blame it on soccer moms, we can blame it on just about everybody, but effectively we're all distracted. And we're all distracted at some point in our days about money. Because I don't know if any of you guys can do it, but I can't walk into a grocery store and not hear about a conversation about money. I can't stand in a crowded area and not hear somebody talking about money. We talk about it all the time. It's a distraction. A friend of mine is a first responder in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I probably got the falls wrong. There's so many falls around here. He's up in South Dakota, and he tells me that this number is correct. Different states probably have different numbers. But he says if he asks a question like, what happened? They'll say, I was distracted. He said, what's distracting you? Well, I was worried about my money. He says he hears this a lot. Now, this is an old statistic, the 62%, but I still think it's probably not too far off. So, 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Today, I'm going to teach you how to live paycheck to paycheck on purpose. Usually it's paycheck to paycheck by accident. We get our paycheck right as the last check from the last paycheck is hitting the bank, and now we're wondering how we're going to make it to the next paycheck. What I teach is proactive. So we're going to learn how to proactively think about our money. When we get our money, how do we want to spend it, not wondering where it went. A huge percentage of us have nothing saved for emergencies, and that's because we're using our savings day to day. We put it in savings, and then we turn around and take it out. And we put it in savings, and we take it out. And so it doesn't actually stay in savings. That's kind of a problem. Why don't we have savings? Well, because we're always robbing our savings account. Okay? And then over 50% of us don't even actually understand basic finances. Why is that? How many of you have little kids or kids with kids, grandkids? How many sent a child to elementary school this past month? Any of you? I sit outside our have a little house in Norwood, Colorado. It's a small little town. And I just sometimes get up on first day of school and go and watch the parents, and they send little Johnny off to school and they come away crying. Why are they crying? They just sent Johnny off to school. What did we send him to learn? How to read, how to write, hopefully. Do math, hopefully. And are we sending them off to learn personal finances? No. We want them to learn to read and write, and we want to send them off when they're 18 to get a job, but we never tell them what to do with the money.
That's why they're crying.
Pardon me?
That's why they're crying.
That's why they're crying, exactly. So when asked, and I found this several years ago because I built a curriculum for kids on teaching the math and money together, and I started going state to state to state, and 100% of the states in this union are requiring teachers to teach personal finance. 91% of them don't feel like they're equipped to do so. They've not been trained, so how are they going to train the little people? So we're training little people to read and write and do math, but we're not training them what to do with money when they get there. So it's a problem. We'll solve it eventually, but this is just something to be aware of, and this is part of why we have so many distractions with money. So it becomes kind of a financial chaos. How many of us in this room say, we all know how to do a budget exactly the same way? Yeah, none of us. It's chaos. It's good. We're going to learn to teach you today a little bit. And the cure is financial education. I started doing this about 15 years ago when a company in northern Utah, Nucor Steel, hired me to coach all their employees when the Great Recession happened. They saw the writing on the wall. The Great Recession is happening. Construction is going to go down. Their contracts were being pulled. Nucor Steel had a company practice, but not policy, that they wouldn't lay off their employees. But a lot of their employees worked on what's called production pay. So when they're producing, they got a 200% bonus on their base wage. So if they're producing, making $45 an hour, base wage just went to $15 an hour if there's no production. So the managers of Nucor said, we've got a problem. They called Dave Ramsey's office in Nashville and they said, send coaches. We want coaches on site with our employees to teach them about personal finances. What we didn't really think was going to happen at the time, we just thought we were helping people. What we saw immediately was less injuries at work. We lowered their stress by teaching them finances, and by definition, their safety at work got better. So I became part of the safety program instead of part of the finance program. And I was there for 8 years. And it was really incredible to watch how the people, when they started learning how to budget, and everybody was doing it basically the same way, how they could help each other, and their safety numbers got a lot better. So financial education does work in the safety realm. So we're going to help you be less stressed, less distracted. So we're going to, by doing this, sorry, I got a little backwards on what I was going to say things. So when we know what our money's doing, immediately we get better savings, immediately we get less debt, and immediately we can start planning for retirement. So if you have people that say, I can't put money in retirement, it's most likely because they have too much debt or they don't know how to manage their money. And so one of the biggest benefits that we can do for our teams is get them to where they can start investing in their retirement. We pay a lot of money to put retirement plans in place in companies, and for people not to be able to use it is a detriment not only to us but to them. So by doing this well, we can really help boost that also. Okay, so page 9 on your handout. You'll notice it's page 9 in your handout because it's actually page 9 of this workbook. So one of the things that I do is I have 3 different, to give you information about tools, I have 3 different programs that we do in businesses to help the team. So if you want to take this back to your team, then I would come in with the actual workbook for the teams. And it's a longer session. I can only do so much in 50 minutes, but we're going to do it. Ready? Oh, I really hate this picture because I am not a skinny person. And this makes me remind myself that I need to get on the treadmill from time to time and not give up. That I need to do fitness things for myself. I'm going to teach you fitness, financial fitness, but it reminds me, some of us are great at fitness. We're fabulous at getting it to the gym, and those same people are not great at their budget. So I'm just the opposite of that. I'm great at my budget, and I'm not great at getting to the gym. So what does this mean? Is it when we're great at one thing, it doesn't mean we have to let other things go by the wayside. We just have to get it back up and keep trying. Now, how many of us make a January 1st resolution we're going to do something? And then by January 31st, it didn't happen. So now, well, we give up because February 1st, we can't fix the problem. So same thing happens with finances as happens as fitness, is we've got to just say, okay, January was January. Like we all know, January kind of is dark and gloomy. Let's start again on February. So I say to plan your money in advance. If you get paid on the 31st of the month, plan your money. Your money's coming in on the 31st, we're going to plan the money for the next month. If the money comes in multiple times during the month, we're going to plan multiple times during the month. So, okay. So emergency funds are probably the biggest thing that really saves people with finances, because emergency funds cover what? Emergency. Yeah, you think that's the answer. It's not. Nice try. Emergency funds are for what? Unexpected. We're not expecting that we're going to drive to work today and smudge the car in front of us, are we? We're not expecting we left Johnny at school and he's going to go off the monkey bars and break his arm, are we? We don't send Johnny to school. I use the word Johnny because my husband's name is Johnny. So just so you know, we don't send Johnny to school expecting he's going to break his arm. So it's unexpected. That's what emergencies are. But if we put money aside specifically and put it in a savings account and say, this is for the unexpected things, then what happens when Johnny goes off the monkey bars? We weren't expecting it today, but we planned for it. Okay, so that's the one thing that we need to start planning for. When we put money into savings, you have to give it a name. What's its job while it's sitting in your savings account? If its job is to take your buddies out to dinner tonight because it's Friday, then that's fine. But if its job is for emergencies, you don't get to take your friends out to dinner because it's not a getting it. I love it. Okay. So, proactive, not reactive. We're trying to be proactive with our money. If we put it in the savings account, if we plan our money, it's proactive. We're looking forward. So this is really important when we're doing a budget for the first time or any kind of cash flow plan. Is it really important to go, okay, it's September, kids are in school, I'm going to look at August to see what September's expenses are. Does that make sense? Maybe and maybe not, right? August, if you have little people, it's school planning. We have to plan for new clothes because Johnny grew over the summer, and short pants are great, but long pants are not. Shoes, who had shoes in the summertime, but shoes are needed in school. So there's things that we have to plan for in August that we might not have to plan for in September. If you live in Utah, August was really hot. September is really nice. So AC bills go down oftentimes. So we might look back for reference, but we're not going to plan our entire budget on what happened in August. We want to plan our budget on what's going to happen in September. Does that make sense? Okay. So here's what I call a zero-based budget. We take all the money we're going to earn, and this is not the gross, by the way, because we make whatever we make per hour, and then the government takes out FICA, and then the government takes out federal income tax and state income tax, and maybe insurance and maybe retirement, and by the time the check gets to you, it's not the same. So what we want to do is we want to plan with take-home money. Now there's a way to adjust take-home money. If you get a huge refund, then you're giving too much to the government in each check, unless you like to give the government an interest-free loan, but I have never seen anybody like to do that. So if you don't like giving the interest-free loan to the government, then I would adjust our W-4 form so that more money comes home to us on a monthly basis. So a lot of times I talk to people and they're getting a $6,000 refund. Well, $6,000 divided by 12 is how much? $500. Would $500 more in your household income be beneficial on a monthly basis than scrambling and waiting until we file our tax return? Which incidentally isn't always the safest plan either. Several years ago, the IRS got confused. They changed the tax code on January 31st. A whole bunch of people hurried up and filed their tax return in January, and they didn't get their refund until June. So it's not the greatest tax planning service of getting your money back in a refund. I would just say adjust your taxes so you can get more money monthly. Okay, all right. So we're going to take all the money we're bringing into the family, all sources of money. So some of us are married. Some of us, my husband's retired, he gets Social Security. What are your sources of income? Some of you are selling stuff on eBay. If anybody has a baby, go buy bumpity buggy, I want it, I will buy it from you. So some of us have side stuff on eBay. We might have rental income. We might have whatever it is that we have, all sources. Add that up. That's what you get to play with. Then we're going to add up all the things we need to spend our money on. Here's the thing. I don't want your bank account to be zero, but I want how you spend your money to be zero on paper. So if you're going to spend money to your emergency fund, I want you to spend it on paper first and then move it to the emergency fund so you know where it goes. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? Stop me anytime if you're like, oh, you're crazy. Just go ahead and tell me. All right. So on page 2 and 3 in your 1011 in your little page there, because of formatting, I can't put the budget in order. So I'm going to tell you what order to do your budget. It's pretty simple. I want you to grab your pens and paper on your paper. And if you are, we're just in the keynote, you heard them talking about giving. I think giving is very powerful. And so I don't actually have it on here, but if you do tithing or giving, I would say do that first. Don't do it so much that it breaks the bank, but do it. If you can give even $25 a month, it makes a difference in how you manage your money. I don't know why. I've studied money for decades. For some reason, giving is the magic pill. It's the only magic pill, by the way, to helping your finances work better. It's the only one I've ever found. When I find people that are not giving at all, their finances are usually the worst. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. It's not a religious thing. It's a heart thing. So go ahead and put somewhere on there, I would put the number 0 that comes before anything else. Start small if you're not used to doing it. If you feel like you have an abundance of money, start big. I don't care. But giving is really, really important. Okay, so the next most important thing is food. I like food. Let me just tell you a little secret about food. If you go into the grocery store and you go around the edges of the grocery store, that's the good stuff. Anything inside the grocery store is not good stuff. On the outside of the grocery store, if you put your focus in the fresh foods and the whole foods, your grocery bill will go down because you need less of it to feel good. It's an amazing thing. Okay? So, food. So if you have people coming to you that work for you and like, I don't understand how to do my food budget, just tell them to go around the outside edge of the grocery store. Okay? All right. So food, reasonable housing. This is a real house, by the way. It's in the Netherlands and it was used in a TV show. I think it's adorable. I want one. Reasonable housing. But here's what I want you to do. You did 0 for giving. I want you to do on food. I want you to put number 1. The first thing I want you to do with your money after you do any giving that you're going to do is I want you to buy food. What happens with Americans is they think everybody else comes before food. And I can't even tell you how many sessions I've been in coaching one-on-one with people. I'm like, where's your food budget? Oh, well, that's what's ever is left. I'm like, nah, meat, wrong answer. Let's go back and feed our bodies. Because if we feed our bodies, we can do everyday life much better. So feed our bodies is number 1. Number 2 is housing. And I want you to start with 2A, which is actually utilities. Utilities comes before the house payment or rent. Why? I'm sorry?
Need water.
Need water. They will shut off your utilities before they will kick you out or take your home. So if you're in a financial crisis or you're helping somebody in a financial crisis, teach them to feed their family and keep the lights on. Because if the lights aren't on, the power's off, the heat's off, we're not functioning. We're not focusing. If we're driving a bus and we have no power, we're not focused on the bus. We're worried. We're stressed. We're distressed. So these are really important things to keep in mind if you're helping somebody. Feed your family and put your utilities. Then do your rent or your house payment. In that order. Nothing gets paid until you do these things in this order. If you're working with somebody who's financially distressed. Okay? The next thing, little car up there. You did show me where the pointer was and I didn't. The little car up there. I don't really want you driving off a cliff. I really don't want you driving off a cliff. But I do want you, before you ever turn the key on in your automobile, to buy your insurance. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, if we're here helping other people fill out this paperwork, we should also know that there are government programs that help, like the HEAT program when there's individuals, and that's not necessarily an age base. And then there's another program called the Renters Refund.
Here, I want to put you on here so because you know probably more than I do.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There's a couple of programs that the state offers, and one of them is the Renters Refund, and that is available for anybody over the age of 62 who lives or rents, and they can apply for that yearly. And they can actually apply right now from last year, and then apply again in January for this year. And that is great money. And then the other program is the HEAT program, and anybody can apply for that. That's based on kind of a first come, first serve. But that is a great program. It's about $500, and that goes for gas or electricity. So if we're helping other people, make sure that they're aware of those programs.
That's awesome. You want to speak too?
Yeah. In addition to what Susie just mentioned, there are a plethora of resources actually that Davis County Health Department has gathered 2,000 resources into one link. It is currently, focused on Davis County, but these are statewide and sometimes national programs that are listed there. So it's just davislinks.org, and you can find all kinds of things. You can just put prompt housing or utilities or whatnot. Anyway, so yeah, there are some progress being made to connect those resources.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. One thing I would also say is a lot of people who are financially distressed don't want to fill out these forms themselves. They're embarrassed. So if you can offer the ability to help in that respect by saying, hey, come on in, no judgment. Make sure you tell them no judgment, because that's really important. People do not like to be judged on their situation. And let me sit down. I've looked at this, even if you haven't. I've looked at this a few times. I know what to do. Why don't you come in and sit down with me? I'll help you. That's one of the things. In Colorado, we have a free lunch program, and people won't apply because it's intimidating for whatever reason. So we sit them down and we help them. So thank you. Okay. Insurance first, car payment second, gas next. Okay, in that order. If you can't pay your car payment, they will come get it. But if you really have to get to work, you might put gas in, but not before putting insurance on your car. Okay, great. And then reasonable clothing. I don't know about you, but summer's hot. We don't need as much clothing, but winter gets pretty cold in northern Utah. And I walk by or drive by bus stops all the time. Teenagers, you can't help. They don't want to wear a coat because it's not cool, but little kids want to wear a coat. Big kids like to wear coats too. So reasonable clothing. Now, I was telling a really good friend of mine this a couple of months ago. It was about a year ago. I was teaching her this in Colorado, and she's like, but what if I want a new wardrobe? And I said, oh, come on, you've got enough clothes. And I said, unless you're going to lose 50 pounds. So what'd she do? She went and lost 50 pounds so she could have a new wardrobe. True story, close friend. I'm glad she did it for her health myself, but okay. So reasonable clothing. I know you guys know this, but if you're in Utah, there's also the LDS Church. I have found, I'm not LDS, but I have found them to be tremendously helpful on even if you're not LDS. So they've got the Bishop's Storehouse, as you know, the DI, stuff like that. So there are also, and the Catholic Church is also very helpful. Again, I'm not a religious person, but those are good places to go if somebody might need those. Okay. So just to recap, food, housing. What is not on this list? Got my land and utilities, but yes, you're right. Less phones. When I first came up to Utah working for Nucor, I bought myself a flip phone because people were saying, well, you can't live without a smartphone. And I'm like, I can. So I got a flip phone and I carried it around with me. I still have it. It's really handy for a lot of different things for what I do. If I don't want somebody to have caller ID on my phone, I just use my flip phone because I never answer it, and half the time I don't know where it is. But flip phones are cheap. They're like $19 to buy new, and like I think I pay $60 a year for thousands of minutes. It's not expensive at all. So, what else is not on this list? I'm sorry? That might go under food. We might feed the animals, but there's one big one that's not on this list, and it's called credit cards. Our credit card payments, okay, let me be clear. If you borrow money, I want you to pay it back. I think that's ethically right to do. But they do not get to come in front of your necessities, ever. Okay.
It's on there. Under debt, credit card.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there, but it's not more important. What do you mean?
Well, just like earlier you said, the church donations weren't there, but they are.
Oh, no, it's just not on my screen. It wasn't. Oh, it should be on the paper. Yeah, it's on the paper, but on your paper, what I wanted you to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, the 4 most important things. That's what I was having you do. Yes, we have other bills that we have to pay in life, absolutely. But credit card payments, I don't know how many times I talk to people and they've paid their credit card before buying food. And yes, it will ding your credit if you don't pay them. I get that. But now I'm going to give you my favorite credit card spiel on how to get a great credit score. Are you ready? This is for everybody. So how many of us hear the whole, if I pay it off every month, it's okay? That's pretty good. Here's what happens with your credit score if you pay it off every month. The credit card company reports how much you have on your credit card to the reporting agencies. So if there's a balance there, it's impossible to have an 850 on your credit score. Impossible. You'll never get it. What will get you an 850 on your credit score is if you overpay your credit card by $5 on the date that the statement prints. So if the credit card posts that they owe you money, your score by definition will go up at least 30 points. I've played with this for the last 3 years. I know it works. If I want my credit score to go down, I leave a balance on my credit card. If I want it to go up, I pay a little bit extra. So when the statement prints, if it's negative, by -$5, your credit score will catapult. Okay? So you get somebody who wants to buy a house and they're, oh, my credit score is too low. Great. What it means is you've got to pay off your credit cards. So this has nothing to do with a car loan or any other debt. It has only to do with credit cards. If you overpay it just a couple of dollars every month on the date that the statement prints, Capital One, by the way, now shows when the payment's due and when the statement prints. If you open up their website, it'll tell you when the statement prints. But you can look at your statement. It prints on the same day every month. If that amount is negative, your credit score goes up. Okay? The other thing, the whole 90 days same as cash loans, not the same as cash when it comes to your credit score. Number one, you get the 0%, but what happens, and I did this because I wanted to test it. I got a couple new windows in my house, and the window company said, hey, get this 90 days, 180 days, same as cash. I'm like, okay, I'll try this. I didn't need to, I had the money, but I wanted to see what it did. My $850 went to $770. That is the only thing I did. So Synchrony Bank, Care Credit, bad credit cards if you like your credit score down, they're great for that. But if you want to get your credit score up, you don't not want those in your life. Okay? All right. Questions on this? And yes, I play it with my credit score for fun because I don't really care what it is because I don't borrow money. So, personal thing. All right. The next most powerful thing we can do with our finances, now that we've talked about credit, is gone to paper money. So, I need a volunteer. And I need another one to hold the mic. Oh, yeah. Come this way.
In front of her.
All right. Come on in.
Okay.
We have money.
I like money.
I like money. Okay, you left-handed or right-handed?
Right.
You should stand on this side. All right. So we're going to plan our money. Stick your fingers like this. Okay, you got them like that? You very seriously like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Went through my fingers.
She had no plan for the money because we hadn't even talked about having a plan for the money, right? So it just looked for, okay, we're going to have a new plan. I need a second volunteer. Oh, smart woman. Okay, you can stay seated. Now we're going to give you a plan for your money.
Okay.
I'm going to give you this $20 bill, and your plan is we're going to give it to her.
Okay.
And that's, we're going to use the giving technique.
Okay.
Makes us feel better. So hold your hands like that. I'm going to count to 3, and on 3 you're going to pinch, and you're going to get the money.
Okay.
Okay, you got, look how excited she is. This is the power of paper money, by the way.
I want the money.
If I told her I was going to give a piece of plastic, are you excited?
No.
Nah, she's not excited. This stuff's exciting. Okay. All right, this way. You want to be as even with the ground as you can? Okay, on the count of 3.
Okay.
1, 1.5, 2, 3. The focus is incredible. Would you like to give this young lady $20? And she's thinking, well, what do I get out of that? She also gets $20.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I get to keep it?
You get to keep it, yes. Teach you not to volunteer, right? So the power of cash is incredible. It's, have any of you heard of Dave Ramsey, financial guy? He always talked about cash is king. I didn't quite believe him until I switched almost exclusively to cash. In fact, now these days, if you don't accept cash in your retail store, I will walk away because cash is that important. A couple of things you need to know about cash. I just handed you $20 and I just handed you $20. With both of your $20, you didn't pay a fee for that. I gave you $20, you walk away with $20. Had I used this, Visa would get 3% of that. So my $20 to you, 3%, you would have lost 60 cents. Now you have $19.40. Then you use this again, the next person, you only have $19.40 to spend. The next person is also going to get 3% ding. And the next person. Who wins 100% of the time when you use plastic? Yeah, I'm not a fan. They have entirely too much money. I'm not a fan. So we switched to paper money. Not only that, but I was challenged. I was teaching one of those classes welder in the back of the room. He's covered in zinc on his face, and he's got steel-toed shoes, and I'm a little intimidated. And he's like, do you always use cash? You're teaching us to. Do you do it? And I'm like, well, you know, I pay my card off every month. And he's like, hypocrite. I'm like, oh, that hurt. So I went home and I told my husband, now here's the thing. We live in a little town in southwestern Colorado called Norwood. We are not close to anything. We drive 65 miles one way to the grocery store, to Home Depot, to everything you need, and we have to go over a mountain pass to do it, so sometimes it's snowy. It's not always fun, and so we go once a month. And I was thinking, for everything we need in a month, it's like $1,200, $1,500. I'll just take the credit card and pay it off when I get home. Great idea. Now I'm a hypocrite, so I have to switch my ways. So I take 15 $100 bills and I go to Montrose one day and I tell my husband, here's our list and we're going to Montrose. And we are in the grocery store, which is the last stop before the Looney Bean Coffee Company, because you need caffeine to go back over the pass. Okay? We're in the grocery store and there's a line forming behind me because I'm freaking out. Any idea why I'm freaking out? I'll tell you. Standing at the grocery store, last stop, and I look at my purse and there's a big problem. What do you think the big problem is? No, it's the last stop. We've had our money. No, close though. I didn't use it all. Every trip up until that point had been $1,500. That trip was $1,200. Every trip we'd been overspending $300. We went home. I mean, my husband, he doesn't do the cash register, so he goes and walks around, and I'm like screaming across the store, Johnny, get back over here. We got a problem. And he's like, what? And I'm like, what didn't we buy on our list? We had a list, and I'm a Virgo, so it was chronological order by store by the way the store goes. I'm completely OCD in that department because I want to get to town, I want to get it done, I want to get home. We had $300 left over. There's something we didn't buy on that list. This is the first time. And we couldn't ever figure out what we didn't buy. We still to this day have never figured it out. So the next time my snarky self took $1,200, because I'm like, if I can do it last time at $1,200, I'll do it this time at $1,200. Any ideas what happened the second time? At the grocery store?
Still has money left over.
No, it was exact. I'm screaming across the store again, John, do you have enough money for coffee? Because I'm out. But you know what happened? 2 trips to the grocery store, we saved $600. Or two trips to town, we saved $600 that fast by not using plastic. So it's very, very powerful. So what I want you to do is think to yourself, what are 3 places you could not swipe in your life? And put it in your little workbook there. 3 places you could stop swiping. How are we doing? Anybody want to share one of their places?
Starbucks.
Oh yeah, that's a good place. My brother-in-law goes every day.
Hair salon.
Hair salon, that's another great one. Any other places? No swiping? Okay, just one more on the swiping thing and then I'll stop picking on you. How many of us went from credit cards to debit cards many years ago when they start saying if you use a debit card, you're using your own money? Anybody do that? We got had. Debit cards, still you lose 3% of your money to the vendor, to Visa, if you use a debit card. But here's what I know about returns on investment on your money. If we go to a grocery store, and it is our plan at the grocery store with our fancy list that we're going to spend, we have play money here, no more real money. If we spend, we're going to go to the grocery store, and this week we're going to spend $100 on groceries for whatever we need. And we get up to the cashier, and she rings it all up, and it's $122.75. If you have this, what happens? We'll put it back on the shelf. If we have this, what happens? 22.75% return on investment to Visa, to overbuying. So when you take this, stick to your budget. Just, I can't even stress it enough, because we will always overspend, because it's uncomfortable when the little belt went by to take something off the little belt and put it back on the shelf. It's uncomfortable, so we don't do it. We overspend. So debit card is also not the same as cash, it's the same as plastic. Any way you look at it, it's plastic. So if you don't want to overspend, it's impossible to overspend this. Okay, all right, moving along. Statistics for you. Okay. So when we do stuff like this, just like the treadmill at the very beginning, John Maxwell says there's 4 types of people. We're either the cop-outs, saying it's not going to work for us, forget it, I'm not even going to try. That's fine. No judgment here. I just gave you the tools to try. Your holdout, this is the one we're going to check and see if our neighbor did it, and if they were successful, then I'm going to try it. Okay, maybe. Dropout is kind of like the cop-out. We're just not going to do it. Or we tried it. Like I said, we tried it once and it didn't work, so we don't never try it again. Don't do that to yourselves. Keep trying. Find a system that works. But let me give you another really good system that works great, that's a lot easier even than my worksheets. Feel free to make copies of my worksheets, by the way. Use them to your heart's delight. Call them your own. I don't care. Let's just get the word out to the people. But the easiest way is take that dollar amount that we said we made for income and just get a yellow pad and say, this is how much I have to spend. We're going to take $25 out for giving, and then we're going to take out $500 for food, and you just go down until the number equals 0. Get a calculator. It's super simple. It does not need to be a complicated spreadsheet. So it's really easy. But if it doesn't work my way, try until you come up with your own way. And that's all I'm going to challenge you. And then there's, of course, John Maxwell's The All Out. Those are the Hey Adrians, the top of the stairs, right? So wherever you are, this is how you do it. So now we're ready to take over the world. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's how you teach it. That's how you do it for yourselves, all of that. The more we do it for ourselves, the better we can help others. One of the best lessons I learned in college was when I was struggling in math, go tutor math. And then once you teach it over and over again, it actually helps you do it better. The resources that I have, there's tons of state resources for people who are struggling. I know that 100% of us hear about people talking about money every day. We went to Tuacahn last night. There were 3 conversations behind me talking about money. It happens constantly. It's not about us jumping into their conversations, but it's us hearing what people are saying and saying, okay, how can I help? If I can help, I'm going to jump in and help. If I can't help, then offer what we have available to us. I teach courses. This is, I did a mini, so this is actually an 1.5-hour course. It's budgeting and planning for emergencies. I also have one that's called Tackling Debt, and I have one that's all about relationships and money, like how we work together as a family. And questions. I think we're there. Questions. You guys are like super great students. This is like the straight A class, like very focused. But yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to get out one more resource. There's also T-Mobile offers a program for people who are 55 and older and low income that they can get a cell phone service for about $25 plus taxes. So if you have individuals that need that, that's not an issue.
Yes, sir.
You didn't say a lot about investments. What about savings, investments, those kind of things?
It's hard to get all the financial stuff we need to know in 1 hour, but yes, savings. So the one thing I did say is when you're doing your budget is make sure you plan for savings. So one of the greatest ways to plan for savings is to do it in your paycheck. So if you have any kind of retirement plan within your organization and you're sitting down with somebody and they're having trouble saving, ask them to put 1% into their 401k or 403b, whichever one you have. The rate of return immediately is your tax savings. So we can talk rate of returns and all the little investing things, but if you match and they put 1% in, they're going to get a return on investment immediately. They're going to lower their taxes immediately. So there's immediate return on investment. If you don't have a retirement plan in place, encourage them to open a bank account separate from everything else and possibly in a different bank, and then have them take their money and put it in there intentionally. So we start with an emergency fund, and I'm an emergency fund junkie. When I first learned about the emergency fund, I thought $100 in my checking account was enough. It would keep me from bouncing checks. When I learned these techniques, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have an emergency fund. So we built one for a person, and then we've had 3 businesses. So then I had an emergency fund for an emergency fund for an emergency fund. I'm a complete junkie for emergency funds because you never know what's going to happen, but they can offset each other as well. And then just being very intentional. Just like we're paying our house payment, we should be paying ourselves. Does that help? Yes, ma'am.
Also find out if your employer, the one has the 401k match, but if they're, excuse me, willing to split your payroll deposit, you can have them automatically put it into the savings account. You never see it, you never miss it. Amazing.
That is amazing. But the only problem with that, again, if you don't have a budget, it goes to the savings account and then comes right back out again. So, so we want to make sure when we're teaching people that what is its job when it goes to the savings account is its job. So, one of the things is saving up for a new car. I'm not going to take out a car loan again. I'm going to save up for a new car. So we're putting money aside, but we keep robbing that account. And the car breaks beyond repair. We go to the savings account and there's only $2,000 there. Guess what? We're getting a $2,000 car, which, by the way, you can get a really decent little $2,000 car all the time. It's just knowing where to look. So I could do a whole lesson on cars because I am a car junkie. We're actually down to only 6 cars in the family at the moment. A year ago I had 12 cars. I am a car junkie. I love cars. I even have pardon me? Well, I actually have a Mercedes Sprinter van bus. That's one of them. I have also a little 2-seater Mercedes outside. By the way, it's the cheapest car I've ever owned, my little 2-seater. It's a 2015 Mercedes SLK 250, which is like the lowest end of Mercedes. But whoever had the car before me, I'm 100% certain he won it in Vegas. And then he took it home to his wife on the potato farm in Idaho, because I looked up their address and it was a potato farm in Idaho. It was probably a $75,000 car, brand new. He took it up there and she's like, "Have you lost your mind, honey? Where am I going to take that on a dirt road?" And so he was sent back to St. George to find her a better car. And so he brought it down here. They did not know what they had. So they bought it from him for $24,000 and sold it to me for $25,000. When I insured it with Haggerty Insurance, which is $250 a year, full coverage for $25,000, they came back and said, "Your car's worth $36,000. I'm like, "Ooh, cool." So now I pay $260 a year for insurance, full coverage on my little cute car, which, by the way, gets 50 miles to the gallon. It is by far the cheapest car I've ever owned. Mercedes-Benz SLK 250. So, and it's 10 years old. So, yeah, I can talk cars all day long. But cheaper cars, I'll park it. I ran into an old client, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, look at your car!" And I'm like, "My car was half the price of your car." "What? How's that?" So, you can get great little cars, by the way. Haggerty.com has auctions on cars, and I just was almost this close to bidding on one of those fancy Mercedes Jeeps. Now, I'm not a big fan of Mercedes, but you know those Jeeps are $150,000. This was auctioned for $40,000. Yeah, what? I want one. Oh, it was a 97, but it was still really cool. A lot of times you can get older cars that run perfectly. I've been sitting in Grandma and Grandma's garage, and they're just as good cars. When I teach my getting out of debt lesson, I actually put up cars that I find on Auto Trader the day I do the class, and I can always find a $2,000 car that's decent that I would buy. So, any other questions? I could talk cars all day. It's dangerous. Questions can be for you, for your teams, can be for anything.
Where do you go? What's number 5?
Number 5 is your order of what you think is the next most important thing. So we're all different with our finances. Next most important thing might be your credit card. You might really want to pay down your credit card and get rid of the debt. Might be going into your emergency fund, starting to plan for that. So whatever is on your list that's not on my list. I'm covering, the 4 walls are basically this. If you have a square house and you take out a wall, what happens to the house? It goes splat. So the 4 walls are keeping your basic house in order. Okay, I actually didn't finish early. There's got to be something else you guys want to talk about. This is money, it's fun. Any other questions, comments? You want to escape before the cops tell you how to? Oh, yes, sir.
Are you worried carrying that much money around with you?
I'm sorry?
Are you ever worried carrying that much cash around with you?
Here's the one thing I've learned about carrying cash around with you. First off, nobody has a clue you're doing it because everybody's running around with plastic, or it's on their phone, or it's on their watch. Number 2, there's no X-ray vision that I've ever seen that was going to figure out how much I have. And number 3, if you lose your money, it will happen one time. And it did happen. One of my clients, I like worked on him. I'm like, come on, you've got to start using cash. And so he did, and he went to the gas station, put his wallet on top of the gas tank, and drove off. And he goes, you were right. I will do that one time. I will never lose my money again. A costly mistake that one time, but think about how much you pay in interest on credit cards all the time, or overspending all the time. It's a costly error, but it's much cheaper than what you pay in interest and overspending. So I don't worry. You don't know how much money I have on me. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's none. So I don't think I even know what I have right now. I think my husband raided the purse this morning. He said something about Dixie meats. That's never a good sign. Great question. Oh, and the other thing, cash can't be hacked, and I am a hack magnet. It doesn't matter where I go. If I pull out plastic, I can just guarantee you the next 24 hours I'm going to get hacked. So cash isn't hackable. That's another reason I love it. So.
What about gold?
What about gold? Gold's a great. Gold is. I've been wrong on this a few times, so I have to be careful. I like gold around my neck. Oh no, that's a silver. I like gold around my finger. I think gold is about as personal as jewelry. So I'm an avid coin collector. I've got piggy banks all over my house. I won't tell you where I live, but you have to find the piggy banks too. They're all over the house. I think any kind of commodity like that is really going to be based on what you put it on. Are you going to have gold bullion? My mom has silver all over her house, and it is true silver. And I'm like, Mom, where are you keeping that? And last week it was under the kitty litter. This week we have no idea. I'm like, Mom, you're in your 80s. Where are you keeping it? Same thing with Bitcoin, gold, silver. It's a lot of eggs in one basket. So if you're buying gold and silver, buy low, sell high. I believe gold is at an all-time high. So I might be just watching it. Same with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at an all-time high. So, when Bitcoin went cha-cha-cha-cha-ching a couple of years ago, I had a ton of friends in Bitcoin, and a lot of them sold because it freaked them out. And so that was buying high, selling low. So it's just like anything, risk. But I'm not opposed to gold. I have none, but not opposed to it. Does that answer? Help? Oh, and the gold backs are really cool, and I've been watching those. I think those are really fun. Those are kind of like paper money, except for they're gold. Do you guys know what the gold backs are in Utah? You can buy these gold certificates for like $3.25 per dollar. Oops, I'm done. Off. Turn yourself off. And you can exchange those at places where people will take the gold backs. So that's a great way of keeping money local. But I haven't done that either. Some people say that's a good investment. I don't know.
So there's a new thing where you can put gold. I think there's a depository place. It's something that keeps your gold there, and then you can work off of that like a credit card. So you can buy, you know, a hamburger or something without dipping into the gold, but they just keep track of it based on what you got listed.
And you pay fees for that, right?
Right.
That's a great idea. I want to be the person that gets his feet. Sorry. That's my snarky self on the loose again. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to become personal on, you know, when I think of things like why would you buy gold in cases of emergencies, my first thought always goes to New Orleans and Katrina. I don't know why, but there are cases that I heard about where people had gold and it sunk when the house washed away. And so I'm careful on things like that. So
It's kind of inflationary.
yeah,
It keeps the money current with inflation, so that's the reason, I guess.
so yes, I would say it's personal. Okay, great questions. Anybody else? We're kind of out of time. I'll hang out. I'll be up here if you want to come up. Did you all get your bracelets on no swiping? Okay. Thank you.